think I'm live. I'm going to find out in a second. Let me get to... Nope, there it goes. There it goes. So it looks like I am live. I'm early because YouTube changed how they set up the stream. Now, it used to be that I could start the stream on my software, and then the stream, I would have to start and stop the stream here. Now, as soon as I start the stream here, I'm finding out right now, in real time, that it automatically starts the stream here. So, check. Let's get the mic on because I wasn't ready. This is, what's up, dudes? How's my audio? How's my video? How's my sound? Are we getting stereo? Sounds good. Yeah, Nicholas is saying it sounds good. Is my voice too hot? You know what? Let me kill this. Can you hear this? Can you hear this thing in the background going? If I hit that, is it a little quieter? Turn that thing off. Yeah, people are saying it sounds good. Good. Cool. Montreal, what's up, dude? Cool. Well, all right. I guess we're starting now. Slide the mic a little closer, yeah? Is my mic a little down? Let me know. Sounds solid, yeah? Check. 1, 2. Houston, Bulgaria, what's up, guys? Little North Wales, little Texas. Little Ukraine, little England. Down under, I'm assuming that's Australia. Could be New Zealand. All right, New York sounds good. Okay. Show Me the Way by Peter Frampton now. I don't think I ever learned that. I think I ever learned a lot of Frampton songs. He was just a tiny bit before my time. And I don't think I ever really gone into it. Denmark, Oregon, Philly, Kentucky, Scotland. Here we go. Chicago. Wenatchee, Washington. Jeff, what's up, dude? I see you here all the time because I remember the name of that that town. Little Cleveland. Hello, Cleveland. Little P-town. And, yeah, mic and levels are good. Good. Texas is here. What's up, Bobby? Netherlands, Denmark, Switzerland. Thanks for staying up so late. Same with you in Netherlands. I know it's late. Italy, same with you. You're up late, too. California, it's afternoon for you. Oregon, Alaska, Swindon in England, baby. Another Italy, Los Angeles. And, going a little faster. I think I saw North Carolina. Thanks, Whip Jr. Happy Labor Day to you, too. Philly. What's up, dude? North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and Dunedin, New Zealand. And 1 a.m. in Italy. Yeah. New York, I think I saw Yonkers, Essex, Buda, Texas, Pennsylvania Road. Really? These are great days. 2017s are going to, Les Pauls are going to include left-handed models. It happens. Thanks, Thomas. I really appreciate it. We got Brazil. We got Alberta, Canada. They're going by a little fast. We got Minnesota. Seamfo green, baby. And I worked on the, I tried to get the color a little correct on the monitor with the white balance. We got Maryland. York, Greece. 7 p.m. in New York, same here. Toronto. I need some shredding. I think it's 2 Ds and no A's, right? Yeah, it's popping all right. What do you think of 70 Strats? I just bought one. What year did you get? I like 70 Strats. I've been looking for one between like a 73 and a 76. We got Cincinnati. We got Ontario, Canada, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We got Cobalt, Ontario. That's it in the spot. Cleaning out the garage. We're having a floor put in the garage in about 4 weeks. And that means we got to get everything out of there. That's a lot of crap. I'm like pulling out I'm like pulling out radio flyer wagons from 2006. 79, yeah. So 79 is a large headstock, definitely a 7.5-inch radius. By then, I think they're doing a polyurethane or a polyester. I think it's polyurethane on the neck, except the front of the neck, which was lacquer, right? And so so the parts you touched wouldn't wear off, but the part that didn't would fade. So all those 70s models are very interesting because the front of the neck is usually darker and more yellowed than the sides and back of it, and the fretboard itself. You know, people saying it sounds good. Good. I like that. 74. Oh, I love that serial number. Thomas has a 74 Strat, serial number 66606. Dude, that's awesome. What am I drinking? Just ice water for now. You know, I've been cleaning out the garage. I was sweating like a pig. I'm so thirsty. So, no, we're not getting rain, and we could really use it. We are in such a severe drought. We are like crazy below. We're like 10 inches below normal. It's like really bad. But I don't want it all at once, right? That doesn't help. That doesn't help. I don't want it all at once. I want it just like incremental. Like we need like 4 days of just steady, slow, drizzly rain to soak everything up nice and slowly, you know. Oh, so what do we have here? Well, we got 120 watching. That's cool. Wait. That's the dirty channel. That's the clean channel. Thanks so much, Oliver. Yeah, I saw Island go up in there. St. Louis is here. Software, I'm using TH2, but only for the cab, and it's not even the TH2 cab. It's an IR. It's a this is either going to be Rosen or 3 Sigma. Let's take a look. See what we got. It is. It's a Rosen. It's a Marshall 1960B JMP1. And so the rig is the Fuego X. So I'm plugged into the Fuego X, and that's turned on. Right now I'm on the clean channel, obviously. And that's going out into the reload box, which is the greatest purchase I've ever made, is the 2 Notes reload box. And I did buy it. So the reload box, it turns all that juicy, tubey goodness into something that can go into my computer and add a cab. The only difference between the reload and like the Torpedo Live is that the cabs are built into the Live, so you can use it in a live situation and just plug a speaker, a line out like right into the mixing board, and you already have a cab. With a reload box, it's more for the studio, and it has to go out and get a cab somewhere, and obviously it's in the computer. That's where I add the cab, and there you go. Saw Arizona, saw LA. No volume? Music Man says I'm having no volume. Am I having a problem with volume? Let me know, because I'm showing volume here. Right now I am tuned down a half step. Not always, though. Someone said, do you tune down a half step? It really depends. This has 11s on it, and At E, these feel a little too tight. I like this for E flat. People are saying no, volume's good, volume's good, volume's good. Okay, good. That's a statistically significant sampling right there. It says yes. Cool. Yeah, the video looks a little low res. It shouldn't. It says my stream health is good. Yeah, I should be running 720p. Let me know. That's the clean channel. I haven't played guitar in like a week. I shit you not, like a week. Because it's just been one thing after another. I have to be up tomorrow morning at 7:15. My son has to appear at his football game. His football game starts at 9. The stretching starts at 7:15. Hey, Gary. The neck is made out of rosewood. Someone just said, what neck is this made out of? It's made out of rosewood. Video fine. Vocals are slightly ready over guitar. Oh, good. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'd like to hear. It's so hard here because I found out the hard way that it always looks really awesome here. And then later on when I go and look at it, I go, well, this looks like crap. Right? It's like you don't really know. It always looks great here because I'm looking at my ingestion server and it looks sweet. Even when I was on Google, it looked great. But later on, I'd get the bad news. All right, Tony's saying it is good. Good. Did I know Satchel and Steel Panther from Phil X are cousins? I did not. That's an interesting... That's cool, actually. Steve, what are your feelings on Sterling sub-Silo 3 guitars? I don't know. Sterling, in general, can be sort of hit or miss. I've played a couple of Sterlings, so I was like, wow, this is actually a really nice guitar, because they're very inexpensive. But I played one or two, and I was like, meh, nothing to write home about. So I think it really depends on the setup, and maybe just the particular guitar. I think one of the Sterlings I played was... sort of like an Eddie, the Eddie Van Halen sort of EVH style model that they kept going even after he departed, ways with them. And then I think another one was like a Petrucci version, if they make one, that sort of like Strat style that he has. Will you ever get an Explorer? I want an Explorer, but they're kind of pricey. I mean, I could probably get a Gibson Explorer for around, what, $1,200? Maybe $1,000? I mean, do they go that low? Costa Rica. Nice. I was just looking at my Costa Rica photos. We were there in 2003. Oh, let me see here. You also got more powerful system. Yeah. Well, that's just it. I got all these powerful system upgrades. I ramped up my internet connection. My upload stream pretty much on a regular basis is 120 megabit. I mean, I'm in the zone. I got plenty of headroom on this. And yet, it always looked like crap. And it was because of those Google ingestion servers. That's what was killing it. It would take a 720p upload, and it would like put it to like 144p, spit it back out again. Yeah, I saw the 2017 Gibsons are out. Hey, fun fact about Gibson. Anyone want to guess how much of Gibson's revenue comes from the sales of guitars? It might be surprising. In 2010, it was like 100% or close to it. But today, Oop, Gary might have it right. Oop, Frank's got it right. Nick and Luca, Nick and Terry, you're a little low. Phantom, a little low. Dylan's a little high. Oliver's right around the zone. It's about 25% as of their last. They don't, because they're a private company, they don't have to do financial filings too much, other than when they apply for credit, and that's when you sort of get the window into it. But yeah, right now they're about 25%. Because you remember they bought Philips and they bought Onkyo, and those are two big electronics companies. And if you read, there's a great article in the Tennessean, which is a newspaper out of Tennessee, obviously, which is where Gibson's located, right? So they cover Gibson a lot more than pretty much any other newspaper, the Tennessean. And they have a couple of great stories in there about how they pretty much pivoted from guitars. They could see the writing on the wall. They had all this massive growth, and then the growth stopped, and they pretty much think that they've peaked at their market share, and they don't think they're really going to get any more. So they went to the electronics, you know. Yeah, Gibson owns Philips, yeah. Yeah, look up Gibson Brands. I think that's the official parent company, Gibson Brands Incorporated, or LLC. What's up, Italy? From Greece, what's up? Greece's greatest export, I think, is Panos Avenitis, I think. God, his playing is so good. His playing is so... One thing about that guy, if you've never seen him, Panos Arvanitis, I'm probably butchering his name, and I apologize for it, but he's got an economy of playing that when he really gets going, his fingers barely move. So sweet. That's in the zone. You know, when you see someone playing and they're going like that, then you see someone and they're playing and their hands are going, and you're like, are you even playing? But they are. But he gets that economy. Oh, so good. Hello, Cleveland. Yeah, Fender owns a lot of brands, but they're all guitar brands, right? That's the difference. Like, Gibson really went to, like, non-guitar stuff. So Fender bought Charvel and they bought Jackson, right? And they have all these, like, other brands under their umbrella, but they're guitar makers. What was odd was that Gibson they purposely went to, if you can believe the article, they sort of purposely went to non-guitar items because they felt the guitar market had sort of peaked. And if anything, the guitar market is probably declining because the guitar, there's not too many songs today that are, you know, guitar oriented. Right, was it? That's the crap you learn for your kids. I actually like that band. They're pretty funky. Yeah, diversify probably is a smart move. Yeah, so Jerry's saying, like, diversifying is probably a smart move for Gibson. And I agree, it probably is a smart move for them. You know, guitar isn't what it was in the 70s and 80s. Even the 90s, it was hotter. The funny thing is if you read the story, they say sales peaked in 2006. I was like, wow. That's crazy. You know, that late, I literally would have thought the sales would have peaked in like 1996 and not 2006. But they said sales peaked in 2006, and they've been steadily declining for just the whole industry, you know, ever since. Then they had a banner year in 2014, and then we all know what happened in 2015. And then Moody's like totally downgraded their credit from like barely acceptable to pretty much unacceptable, like barely teetering on the edge. And I think Gibson's had a killer 2016 from what I can see. And I think they totally bounced back from that. So the big thing is Gibson has a balloon payment in December. And they have another one a year from December. So they've got to come up with, I forget what it is. I want to say it's 60 million or it's 25 million. So they have one payment, I thought it was like 25 million, another payment's like 60 million, and they're both due in December. And one was this year and one's next year. AC/DC's Phil Rudd has heart issues. Interesting. I had not heard that. I heard he had legal issues. But he might have, got his way out of there. The other thing I can do with the software, I don't know if I've mentioned this. Let me see if I can get on this other screen. Is that I could actually set up like a backdrop and do like a live cam, and do a few different things. I can actually set up multiple cams, and move the cams around and stuff. So it's going to be good. I'm trying to figure it out. But I could probably set a cam a little bit closer so you could see what I'm playing. It could get really interesting. I'm probably going to set up. You can't see it now, but a Bud 1 cam. And the logo is courtesy of a friend of mine out of the UK who, I don't know if he wants his name mentioned, but this guy, Nick, and super, super nice guy, and obviously killer with the software. And he's the one who made the striped one. He's made a bunch for me, and they're killer. So really appreciate that. Shout out to him. Yeah, Terry, that's exactly it. It's more like the Twitch stream software. And I think that Twitch stream software finally just added like YouTube support. And it had been out there and sort of like around. And I had tried a few other ones and it just did not work. And this one seems to work great. And it doesn't even have a ton of overhead usage. Like when I would use the other ones, my CPU would peg to 100, even on this machine, and it just wouldn't work. And it was just poorly written software. This software, which I believe is open source, it's OBS, works great. I don't have a bad thing to say about it. A Pixie Limited, yeah, maybe. So, not one of these, but one of the Strats, the red Strat that I have. One of those showed up on Guitar Center a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, 6 weeks ago. And what was so interesting was the guy he sanded the top down to get rid of the logo that was lasered in, and he put a gold logo on it and lacquered the top. It looked okay. I don't know that I was blown away by it. I mean, the guy did a good job, but in some ways it probably ruined its value because now it's not stock anymore. It's funny how that works. It can be an upgrade and still kill its value because people want it stock. Weird how that works, Not sure if we covered this in previous Hangouts, but what conclusions did you arrive at about your guitar string test? That's a great question. Here's what I found out, and I get the video. I'm working on the video. Here's the problem. The summer, it gets to the end of June, and I'm like pretty much dead for July and August. And then the kids literally go back to school on Tuesday, and everything just goes back to normal again. So the strings were sort of interesting. They don't last any longer if you play them all the time because they wear out just like any other string would wear out, right? Especially if you have like stainless steel frets. I'm really going to wear them out because that metal's so hard. But barring the physical, like if you're just like, playing a little bit and then putting the guitar down, and maybe like if you have a bunch of guitars, you don't play it that often, and then you go back to it, what you don't want is it just to sit on the shelf and oxidize. Like you don't physically wear it out. It just turns dark and black from the air, from existence and oxygen. That's the problem. And I found that the treated strings, the clear tone treated strings, absolutely lasted longer than the untreated string. They can't stop physical breakdown, but chemical breakdown, yeah, it seems to work. I mean, it was noticeably shinier, noticeably cleaner. So, Gibson brands. Baldwin, Cakewalk, Sherwin Vega, Dobro, Epiphone, obviously. Esoteric. Is that a guitar brand? Integra, Kramer. Oh, right, Kramer. KRK. That's right, they bought KRK. That was owned by, boy, Tascam is really dumping. So, yeah, because they dumped, yeah. Oh, right, they dumped Tascam. Yeah, so Antiac. Wow. Wow, Tascam. Now, there's something I owned when I was like a kid, right? Like 1985, I got my first Tascam Portastudio. Bought it off of Building 19 when they bought out Sam Ash. Sam Ash had a fire. And a lot of the stuff was just soot damaged. And they were in boxes. And some of the boxes looked brand new, like nothing, no water damage, nothing like that, right? And it was a crazy. And we went there, and they had one JC120. The dude up front wanted it. It was $200 for the JC120. I paid, I want to say $199 to $249 for that Tascam Portastudio. And I want to say they were $599 at the time, so I got a crazy discount. Use stainless steel strings because of nickel allergy. They last a long time, and I clean them every time with string cleaner. That thing TK was talking about. Yeah, the thing about stainless steel strings is they will kill your frets if you have regular nickel frets. Now, if you have stainless steel frets and stainless steel strings, it's no problem at all. But stainless steel is a much harder steel than nickel. And if you have a nickel alloy fret and you have a stainless steel string, you're going to kill those frets pretty quickly. They're not going to last very long. But that's okay. Free bird for days. Could happen. What's it? Where's it go? That's been a while. Hey, what's up, Ike? Flip sides here. What's up, dude? Yeah, Gary, I'd be a little worried about the fret wear. You might have to put stainless in that eventually. I put it this way, when it wears out, just replace it with stainless and you'll be fine after that. What's your favorite band? I don't know that I have a favorite. That's a good question. I don't know. You know, in terms of like being influential, it probably is Led Zeppelin, you know. And Jimmy Page, right? And team like being just like that whole bluesy sort of. I mean, am I the only one who, like, when in high school went through a period of maybe 6 months where the only band you listened to, maybe a year, was Led Zeppelin? Like, no other band. Every other band was just not Led Zeppelin. Right? Little by ear there. What's up, Arlindo? I think everyone loves Whitesnake, yeah. Gotta love that one. Oh, let's see. Favorite song? I don't think I'd have a favorite song. I mean, so many songs are so good, so moving. I gotta say, like, one of the songs that really sort of blew me away when I first heard it was, and it's just a minor blues, was Since I've Been Loving You. Like one of the last albums, Zepp albums I bought was Zepp 3. And I was like, okay, wow. That's really good, actually. I gotta really... Like I said, I haven't played in about a week. God, I just love Stevie Ray Vaughan. I probably, if I remember correctly, shed a tear one day I found out he passed away. I remember exactly where I was, too. It was in August, right? Because I remember I was at UMass and I had to go in there for something. And I remember, was it a Sunday? Because I remember it might have been on a weekend. Was it a Saturday night helicopter crash? And I forget now, but I just remember like hearing it on the radio and they were playing Stevie Ray Vaughan and driving in and kind of tearing up. And when I got there, like one of the girls was there. She probably recognized that I looked like a wreck. And she was like, you know, everything okay? And I was like, oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan died. And she was like, oh, right. She, you know, of course, at the time she knew who he was, but she wasn't, you know, like a big fan or anything. But man, I just remember being really bummed out by it. Just like, the only other one that came to that was the day I found out Randy Rhoads died. I was crushed, just crushed. What do you think of 24 fret guitars? For a while, I was using them almost exclusively. You know, when I went to Ibanez and I was playing the RGs, they're all 24 frets, and I set a rule like I'll only play 24 frets. Makes sense, symmetrical. We have 1 octave, we have 2 octaves, we have 12 frets, we have 24 frets. You know, now I know everything's all laid out perfectly, but that wears off. That wears off. You know. Do you have any jazz masters? No, never had any jazz masters. Play Rock Lobster. I know, I can't believe it's been 20 years. Favorite Gene Wilder movie? It would have to be, you know, I almost said Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but that was the follow-up, you know, that with what's his name? It was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was the original 60s version, and of course Young Frankenstein. He, you know, some of his reads in that were amazing, but there was just something about his Willy Wonka character that was just perfect. Perfect. You know, you lose. I mean, that scene, that's iconic. Iconic, right? I mean, a meme worthy. Yeah, Blazing Saddles, right? But that's my shooting hand. Oh, you don't want to shoot him. You're just going to piss him off. I mean, so many lines. All right. Let me see. News on future reviews. Good question. I got a bunch of stuff to review. I got some Mesa IRs that were sent to me by a company, I think out of Brazil. Super nice guys, nice Mesa cabs. I feel bad because they sent them to me a while ago and I haven't had a chance to get to them, but those are going to come up real soon. I want to do one. I probably a dedicated one on the 3 Sigma IRs, which are also really amazing. You know, some of these IR companies are just so good. They're really coming out with great stuff. What else do I have coming up? Of course, the Viper. God, that thing. It's like an Alcatraz around my neck. That's a little nod to our old mayor. He was constantly screwing up lines. Let me see here. Have you tried Hard Luck King guitars? I don't think I have. I want to try the oil can guitars. Someone will write the name. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but they look kind of cool. I wouldn't mind trying one. It's basically like a cigar box guitar, but it's an oil can, and they kind of look cool. And you know, I don't know that they're going to have the greatest tone, but I don't even care. You got your Dunkin' today? We didn't do Dunks. There's actually a new bagel shop in town, and we're hitting there. Later, Mandarin. Thanks so much for staying up. I appreciate it. Do you like Saxon? Not that I don't like them. I just don't know much from them. Yes, I'm finally posting the 100 review. Saw a video of a guy skating on an Ibanez. Made me cry. That's weird. Why would he do that? So someone said the oil can didn't smell good. That'd be interesting. See, I thought they used brand new cans, right? I didn't know. Oh, are they reclaimed cans? Maybe they are. I thought he had the cans made, though. I think it started out as a reclaimed can, and then they changed it, you know. Yeah, I saw SRV in Manchester, New Hampshire for the summer open for Joe Cocker. It was incredible. A friend of mine had front row, and he's like, I got front row for SRV. He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm not taking you. I'm like, what? And he's taking some chick he wanted to bang, and I was like, dude, no. What's it going to take? He's like, dude, there's nothing you can do that's going to get you to that show. I'm like, ah. So I missed it. And here's the one I really, really, really missed. He came around with Jeff Beck, right? Jeff Beck had Guitar Shop. It was that new album, killer album too, 89, and they went on tour together. And I so kicked myself for missing the Beck SRV double. It was a double header. So friggin' so bummed. I didn't offer to bang him, but I was getting desperate. Nah, I have some dignity. You know? I was like, come on, bro. It's like, I'll send you out on a date with her somewhere else. What's it going to take to get me into that SRV show? Front row. Front row. At the Orpheum. At the Orpheum. Oh my God. It's like a tiny venue in Boston. Yeah, someone was saying that they were in London. They heard it. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it was just terrible, sad news. And I totally remember the day. I totally remember the day. I remember the day Kurt Cobain died because it was everywhere. And if you remember correctly, the first stories wasn't that it was him. It was that a person was found dead on his property. And that's all you heard. And we didn't find out it was him until like, what, a day? 24 hours? Was it 2 days? It wasn't immediate. This Nick is rosewood. Oh, I don't want to step on the cord. And it is freaking awesome. If I do say so myself. I might be a little biased because I own it. But Bon Scott's death. I totally remember that too. Oh my God. I really remember that because a buddy of mine was borrowing a friend's of his cassettes because, you know, everyone was broke. And this was probably spring of 1980, or maybe it could have even been 79. Could have been 79. It probably was 79 now that I think of it. And might have been fall of 79. And he wanted to, like, borrow my boombox to, like, record it. And I said, when he showed me his setup, I said, no. I got a dual deck at my house because my dad was way into stereos. I got a dual deck at my house. Just come, we'll do this real quick. And we brought it to my house. I made a recording for him, and I said, at the same time, I'm going to make myself one too. And I made myself a copy. And I was loving AC/DC. It was huge. Couldn't wait for their next album. And then we got the news that he had died, and we were just, it's like, it's just like so frustrating, you know, because, you know, here's a new band, and you're a young kid. You know, I think in 79, I was 13. So, you know, it's like you're finding all these new bands, and you're like, you know, you're all into it, and then they're like, oh, yeah, they're gone. Now, when Back in Black came out the following summer, and really into the fall, but it really was the summer of 1980, really in the fall of 1980, that I really remember them taking off. That song, You Shook Me All Night Long, was freaking huge. And I remember that fall, I picked up a... So, no, it had to be the next year. It had to be the spring of 81. I picked up a Strat. I remember bringing it to a guy's house, and he showed me how to play. Not that I'm playing it right. And I was like, oh man, that's so cool. That's on the new album. You know? I know. Too old. You a Metallica fan? Cliff's death. You know, Metallica came just slightly. See, when Metallica came out, they were considered sort of alternate at the time. Alternative. Not alternative in like alternative rock, but they were thrash metal, right? It was a particular sect of metal that wasn't really mainstream at the time. But then they became mainstream. Really, it was Injustice for All. What was the one before? What was the one that was before the Black Album? That's I remember that getting a lot of, before the Black Album, they were getting radio play. Of course, when the Black Album came out, they were all over the radio. But before that, though, they couldn't get on the radio to save their lives when they started out. Yeah, it was Injustice for All. That's Injustice for All. Right, yeah, that's the one. That was the one where they really started to pick up steam. That was absolutely the album that they were just picking up steam like crazy. Now, they were huge among guitar players. They were huge among, people who were like into metal stuff, but they weren't on the radio. You know, they might have been on some like metal hour or something like that, but they weren't mainstream. When Injustice for All came out, they got a lot more radio play. And of course, and by that I mean they got some radio play. And then by the time they got to and sort of primed the pump for their next album, and then when the Black Album came out, they just exploded. I mean, that was just huge. In fact, a lot of people felt they sold out. A lot of people didn't like the Black Album, which I don't know. Is this a politics channel? No, not really. Here's, I'll say one thing about politics. Here's the thing I'd say about politics. You're not changing anyone's mind, so why even argue, right? What's the point? So I stopped doing that a long time ago. You might be young now and you're still like, oh, argue, and you're going nowhere. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy. It's going nowhere. There's no one. Most people sort of figure it out pretty quickly who they like, and that's it. So, and got to remember, I live in Massachusetts. My vote is pretty much non-existent because, the Democrat has a 99.9% chance of winning this state, just like a Republican has a 99.9% chance of winning Wyoming. All Wyoming votes will go to the Republican. All Massachusetts votes will go to the Democrat. It's really that simple. I don't live in a swing state. I live almost in the non-swingiest state, right? Like Massachusetts is to Idaho, right? That's just the way it is. But Steve, do you degent, or if we pronounce that? No, not really. Sorry. Yeah, pretty much, Corey. Yeah, politics, religion, other people's kids, just don't even get into it. I found that just being nice and avoiding all that stuff is even better. People don't want to be around people who are always looking to stir it up and agitate. They really don't. So, Yeah, Tony McAlpine, I saw that. He's sort of making a little go at it again. Now, didn't he... I forget. I could have sworn he went into something like software, or am I thinking of someone else? Someone just said gent is the metal genre right now. That's probably true. It seems to be. Well, certainly the name is hot, right? You wonder if it's really a thing. People just like to say it. I should probably do a God rest these merry gentlemen. From Alabama, have you ever played Earl Slick guitars? I have not, but Earl Slick is a killer guitar player. There's a guy who's been around forever and is well respected. So don't stop believing. I can play it on piano, but is it? I thought it was. And that's about as fast as I go. This is what happens when you don't practice in a week. Some crap like that. Do you like Prince? I friggin' love Prince. Prince was killer. Friggin' killer. He could be a little full of himself and, probably well deserved. But you know what? The guy was, the guy was funky, and the guy's playing was friggin' in the pocket, man. Just so good. He really was. Took me a long time to finally acknowledge Prince was really good, but I finally did probably around 1985, 1986. But, Prince was around before that. I mean, I remember Prince. Little Red Corvette was huge, and, he was whatever. He was a pop guy. 1999, But then, his, Purple Rain came out. And again, I still wasn't so into him. I was just like, oh, whatever, And then, but the more I listened to him, I was like, wow, this guy is actually really, really good. Really, really freaking good. Now, there's a theory that he stole that from Journey. That Purple Rain is basically his version of Faithfully. Band Zebra picks. Have you heard of the band Zebra? I think I have. Zebra. It's an older band, and were they out of the U.S. or were they out of New Zealand? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I remember Zebra. You guys remember Aldo Nova? I was stunned to find out Phil X played with Aldo Nova. Hey, Robert Baker, what's up, buddy? Ugh, I didn't even realize this. Hey, hold on. It's official. We got a douche. Hold on. Let me just fire up a little Massengill here. There we go. Give him hell, Robert. Well, Instant Justice just got some Instant Justice. Quiz, a band called Soft White Underbelly. That I can't say I have. Sorry. Oh, yeah, Robert. Yeah. You should be drunk with power now. Half right. Just got paid. Something like that. It's like boop 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 boop. I must want to play it down here. You wonder if he plays it down here. You know, I saw someone doing by playing the Walk This Way. You know, and they played. Right, they played it. They played it down here, and I was like, I'm so used to seeing people play it up like this. You know, I was like, oh man, damn. that you can play it like that. I think I saw Phil X play it like that because it was probably easier. And I was like, oh man, that's actually pretty smart. That's actually really good. What time is it? 7:50. All right, 10 minutes to beer. Yeah, see, Uncle Jeff's World just did a limited edition Guitar Center only model. Yes and no. It looks like some of the other companies that are owned by Guitar Center have it too. So I think, what is it? American Musical Supply, that's also, and Music 123, I think. They might be both owned by Guitar Center at this point, or Musician's Friend might have them too, you know. But yeah, for the most part, it's a Guitar Center exclusive, the Rosewood stuff. Like I told someone, let me know when Sam Ash has it, and then I'll be. Ugh, Jesus. Oh, man. Well, it's just that quick, dude. Yeah, I just got rid of him again. Oh, there's always one, right? Look at me! Look at me! Why won't anyone look at me? Oh, dude. You know, the funny thing is that when you get to my age, you look back and what was cool when you were young, it becomes regrettable, and you say, you know what? That's kind of a douche. So. And if you are my age, oh, dude, it's even more pathetic. I mean, really. Get a life. This one's taken. Hey, now careful there, Crystal. You never know who's Scottish around here. Most underrated guitarist, in your opinion? You know, I think a lot of people would say Steve Stevens. You know, really, really killer. Some would say Prince, you know, because he wasn't really known. He was more known for his songwriting than his guitar playing. And when he was, you know, earlier, I remember him more like piano playing a lot than even guitar playing. But, you know, there's so many out there that you could say are like underrated. Certainly Steve Stevens comes to mind. Yeah, probably Roy. Someone was saying Roy Gallagher. Some would say Mick Mars. You know, the guy just doesn't get his due. And the other thing I really like about Mick Mars is that the guy persevered through, you know, some pretty debilitating physical ailments, and you know that's always respectable, right? I mean, it just adds a little bit more, I think. I don't know. Sort of appreciation, right, for what he's done in his life with music, considering that he's got, you know, problems that, you know, literally physically prevent him from playing them, you know. Yeah, Frusciante, that's another guy. That guy was a genius. I felt so bad when I saw that footage of him where he was really strung out, looked super thin. It's probably in the early, maybe mid-90s, somewhere around there, when he was out of the band, right? When they briefly brought in, who was it? It was the guy from Jane's Addiction, right? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. You know the guy I'm talking about. Oh, I can't think of his name. But you know. Let's see. Who do we have here? Oh. The funny thing is, you know, you got to admit, the guy's working really hard. And then he create a new account, set it up, join, and then boop, deleted. And then, oh, let me go set it up, join. Funny. Yeah, the Alex Lights and Les Paul. So that was a with the Axis, right? I always thought that was weird that he went to the Les Paul. I'm trying to think of what his main guitar was before that, but I always think of him as that double neck, right? Yeah, J.K. Lee. J.K. Lee was really good, those spreads. Leslie West, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. It could be beer time. Is it beer time? Four more minutes. Yeah, Albert Lee is really awesome. Yeah. New Kramer thoughts? I like the new Kramers. I will say that the higher end ones seem to have a better cut neck, right? A little slimmer, a little nicer than the lower end ones, but well, they're both pretty nice. I have the Kramer Classic. I really love it. I think it's a great guitar, you know. Well, Paul Gilbert, but I don't know that he's underrated. I think someone said the Edge is underrated. You know, the Edge, I don't know if he's underrated as a guitar player, but his songwriting, his little riffs and stuff, his little melodies, they're really good. And don't forget, the Edge can really sing. He's quite the singer. Hold on, they're just moving a little fast on me here, guys. Yeah, the Vinnie Vincent of trolls. Well, we'll see. Vinnie Vincent eventually learned. Let's see if this guy can reach Vinnie Vincent's intelligence. Opinion on John Mayer? I think John Mayer is a killer guitar player, right? I mean, he's a bit of a heartthrob, and it's hard to give a guy like that, his due. But damn it, guy can play. He really can. He's a player. Pixie thoughts on the new USA Charvels. I regretfully turned down a 2006, or was it a 2007 USA Charvel back in 2009 or 2010. I think it was 2010. The summer 2010, I could have bought one of those USA Charvels. Not the new one, obviously. They've reissued them, again, out of the Charvel line. But this was back when they first came out, that first U.S. run of Charvels. I could have bought one for $6.25 used. And I kind of regretfully didn't get it. You know, I've been rocking these picks here. Someone's just asking about picks. I'm really excited. I'm going to be officially with Dawman Picks. We're just getting everything together, and I'll be a Dawman artist. The guy is making killer picks. I love his picks, and he's going to send me a bunch of new ones. I'm really looking forward to it. Free Tom Brady. Yeah, I think Tom's doing all right. Poor Tom. He's going to have to wait in his giant mansion with his model wife about 4 games. Right? So, he'll live. Oh, Jesus. There we go. Already done, though, dude. Done diddly done, dude. Getting 36 messages a minute. Do you watch that pedal show on YouTube? I have heard of it. I haven't watched it quite a bit. I watch a lot of Chappers and Captain. I almost always watch Pete Thorne. You know, of course, you know, I Fluff and Scallon and those guys. You know, I'm pretty steady in there. And Philip McKnight, you know, his channel's exploding, and for good reason. Guy makes good content, you know. Hey, what's up, Harley Rider? Good to see you here. Yeah, Captain Lee is the coolest, man. He's a great guy. I've met him a couple of times. The first time I met him at NAMM, we didn't know each other at all, and I totally accosted him and said, hey, could you do a what's up, dude, for me? He was like, sure. Super nice guy. Second year there, he had the flu. I kind of felt bad for the guy. And then the third year, they were really making a push for Andertons to, you know, to do the full like NAMM experience. So he wasn't around as much. Saw him a couple of times this last NAMM, but. Yeah, I watched Rob Scallon. I met him at the NAMM show last year. Super nice guy. And, you know, he's got quality material. Guy's good. Makes good material. You get a theremin, yeah. Yeah, it could be beer time. Am I missing someone here? I'm seeing people are saying something. Let me go back through. Yeah, I got him. You know what, Terry, you're staying here. I make Baker a moderator, but he's in and out all the time. Terry, I'm going to set you up as a mod. So if you see anything, just feel free to ban. Know any country licks? Not too many. little slide. If you want to sound like country, you have to go from like a minor third to a major third. It's a very classic sort of, you know, country resolution. Yeah, you know, I might go for a. Yeah, I think it's beer time. A lot of people give me the beer sign. I should chips in double neck doing great. I don't play it that much. It's a kind of it's a behemoth. It's hard to hold. It's heavy. You know. Yeah. All right. I'm getting a beer. I'll beer right back. Yeah. Anyway. All right. There we go. So today we're drinking the Bentwater Pearl, which is an American wheat ale. It's brewed in Lynn, Massachusetts, a local brewery, and they're really good. That's good. That's real freaking good, actually. Yeah, I have a fridge in the basement, which we had it in the attic, and then we stopped using it in the attic for the longest time. And then we were cleaning the attic out, and my wife was like, you should take that fridge down to the basement and just, use it down there. And I was like, yeah, that's actually a great idea. So we brought it down. The thing is I have to put it on a little pallet to keep it off the ground just in case we get water down here, because I don't want to ruin the refrigerator. So I got to keep it about this far off the ground, and it works great. Yeah. Now it's officially a man cave. Oh, this lip on this is a little fucked up. Hold on. Oh, yeah. See, that's what happened. That's what happened. Fucking spilling it here. Oh, shit, right there. There we go. Great. All right. Back to normal. Jeez, I've had one sip and I'm friggin' spilling it already. Now it's a show. All right. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I know, I'm dribbling already. I got the reload. And someone said, do you have the studio or the reload? I got the reload. It's going a little quick now. You know any Billy Squier tunes? Not really. would you sell me your chips and double neck? Actually, I literally can't. It's against the law to sell them. So, sorry, but I couldn't. Even if I wanted to. I don't want to. But even if I could, I would... I couldn't. Yeah, I probably wouldn't because I like the guitar. Terry's on it. Yep, Terry Bear. Terry, I got a pit bull in my corner. I haven't learned any winery dogs, and I've talked to Billy Sheehan like twice at last 2 NAMM shows. And the last time I met him in the hallway, he was a super nice guy. We were talking about a Taos gig he did in Boston that I attended. And I really should get into the winery dogs because on paper, they look like the perfect band for me, right? It's like I know all the guys. Richie Kotzen's killer player, killer singer. Billy Sheehan's killer player, singer, killer singer. Like, don't underestimate Billy Sheehan's singing ability. He's a really good singer, actually. Someone texting me? Nope. Just emails. There we go. Gibson Place Fender, yeah. That's too funny. Probably undue pressure on you. It's going by so fast. Bob, right? Bob, did you feel some undue pressure to go with a specific brand? Yeah. Someone brought up a good question. Chicken Foot look like a perfect band too, but they haven't been able to pull it off to the point that I'm really into them, Oh, I think someone said that some of the Gibson makers have been starting to get prosecuted. It's not worth it when you buy it anyways. It's a cheap guitar you have to spend. Yeah, listen, it was sort of a thing, right? It was like the Snuggie of its day, right? It was sort of a thing that sort of came and went. But the last time I bought one was very early in 2011. So it's been 5 years since my last purchase. Most of them were bought in 2010, between May of 2010 and like October or November of 2010. That's when I bought almost all of them. And then a couple of stragglers into 2011, and then I was done. I got this Telly at Guitar Center. My wife bought it for me for my birthday. And I was pretty stoked about it. I think it's like one of the best sounding guitars I own. There's something about this Telly. I knew it when I picked it up. As soon as I picked it up, I said, well, that sounds killer. I said, oh, that sounds killer. No, I could never sell this one. How's the Ibanez Les Paul project going? It is completed. I actually threw a video up of that a few weeks ago. It is done diddly done. Yeah, I love Vito Bratta too. God. And now there's, when we were just talking earlier about underrated guitar players, Vito Bratta, right? And even the other one, Reb Beach, right? Because they were both tappers, right? Especially Reb Beach. Reb Beach couldn't get the shred like Paul Gilbert and them, but he made up for it with his tapping. His tapping was just really, really good. What's your favorite amp? Well, right now, I'm really loving this Fuego X, but I think an all-around general-purpose amp, that friggin' Viper 100, It's got like 1,000 tones in it, right? It's like so killer. It's like easily the most versatile amp I own. But if you want killer, tube tone, then obviously you got to go with like a full-on tube amp. I really love that SLLD preamp from R&R too. I was using that, I forget, last live show or the live show before that. It might have been the last live show. And I was loving the way that thing was sounding. No, my wife doesn't play any instrument at all. She's not an underrated guitarist, and she's not a musician, period, at all. Nothing. Right now, what amp am I using? I'm using the Panama Fuego X. I'm in the Dirt channel. No. Yeah, Dirt channel. Here's the clean channel. Dirt channel. Lead channel. Voice level going up and down. It's been it was doing that a couple of weeks ago. It was annoying me. Check. That seemed to work. I can see a meter here. Got any other tellies? The only other telly I own is the Squier Classic Vibe telly, which is killer. And they're so different from each other. Alder body with a rosewood neck. That's a pine body with a maple neck. Oil finish, gloss, finish. So they're very different from each other. So I was thinking about selling the other one, but then I played it. I was like, you know what? This is such a different guitar. I don't feel like I have to get rid of it. What's pitch center localization? I don't know. I know those words separately, but together they make no sense. Your amp sim days are over, Steve? No, yes and no. Probably not. Because, the amp sims are getting better and better and better. Though I might be more interested in getting a hardware amp sim, like a Kemper or an Axe-Fx. They're just so expensive, If they were under $1,000, I probably already would have owned one by now. But where they're $2,000 and above, it's a harder purchase to make. Oh, cool, John. Thanks so much, buddy. This is a limited edition Fender American Standard. It is. It's just straight up American Standard. Telecaster with a rosewood neck, though. That's the whole thing. They had done a couple of rosewood Strats, but they hadn't done a Tele yet, at least officially, right? They'd done custom shop and very expensive versions, but not a production model. Let's see. What's your favorite acoustic guitar? I like Larrivee a lot for acoustic builders. They're out of Canada. I have a Larrivee. I think when I tend to go look for guitars, I tend to look for Larrivee. But Taylor makes great stuff. Martin makes great stuff. Even some of the Yamaha, like that L series that Yamaha makes, is really killer. Who else? Gibson, of course, makes a great acoustic guitar. Fender, yes and no, not really. I never really think of Fender as acoustic. Who else? Ovation is okay, but you got to be into that sound. But it's got a neck like a friggin' electric. That's the whole thing about Ovation. The necks are so comfortable. No, the fingerboard isn't separate. That's why it has a place, the skunk stripe to put the... it's got a walnut skunk stripe where they put the truss rod in. But as you can see, they just sort of hammer these in right in. It's a one-piece neck. It's pretty sweet. It does have the cutaway back, right? Boo. That's it. You're off. You're off the list. A lot of telly players, they see that cut back and they're like, no. Yeah, Takamine. Yeah. Yeah, Ovation is finally out of business. Are they? Yeah. Cayman was the company, right? The parent company. And the guy who worked, they made helicopter blades. And the guy decided to make the back. He could make the top of a guitar all day long. He couldn't make the back and sides. So he molded one out of the helicopter blade material. And Ovation Guitars was born. Yeah, I like the chubby cut too. I don't mind it. But some people, they really don't like it. They see that and they're like, that's an abomination to everything that's Telecaster. Hello, Hector. Nice to see you. Yeah, Amplifier has my buddy Phil does work with Amplifier by Atomic, and they have the booth next to although they may not make the amplifier. That's a good question. Or do they just make the software in it? That's a good question. I think they make the amplifier, but they're right next to us at the NAMM show. My buddy has his booth, and then right next to it is their booth. And it sounds killer because they always do the demos, and the guy does a couple of demos to backing tracks, and the unit does sound killer, I gotta say. What's up, dude? Yeah, Ovations can be tricky. They are, like a lot of people are saying, they're kind of uncomfortable because of the size of the back bowl. But here's the thing. Those deep bowls sound better than the shallow bowls. The shallow bowls started to get a little thin. They lost all their bass response. Those deep bowls, I think, sound better. There was a point where they were super deep, and they got a little shallow, and that was still okay, but then they went really tight, and that tight bowl didn't quite cut it. What's your favorite manufacturer other than U.S.? Well, you mean country of manufacture? I would say Japan. Easily. I own a lot of Japanese-made instruments, and I think they're gorgeous instruments. After that, it's probably a toss-up between Korea and Indonesia. They're both making pretty good stuff. Depends on where you go. And then after there, you're probably looking at China. And then look out, because China's no longer the lowest cost player in town. Vietnam has started to come out as the new China. So you're going to start to see more and more guitars made in Vietnam because they can get them made there for just dirt cheap. And I had some friends who were looking to get some guitars made. Went to Vietnam and had some prototypes made, but they said they were terrible. They went running back to China because he said they just had the machinery. They just made a better guitar. But now Vietnam seems to have got over that hump, and I think that's going to be the next. That's going to be the next like low end place. I like the Mexican stuff. Again, the Mexican stuff is very interesting. The Corona plant, right, and the plant in Mexico, not that far apart, right? Few-hour drive between those two plants. And that's on purpose. That Mexico plant for Fender is very northern Mexico. It's on the Baja Peninsula, if I remember correctly. And they go back and forth all the time. And I think that's why they can keep such good, quality control over the Mexican factory. And I think a lot of Fender aficionados, a lot of Fender-esque people would say that there's something in 2006 that happened at the Mexican factory where the quality seemed to really shoot up. So maybe they did a retooling, maybe they bought new machinery, maybe they got a new machine or something, but something seemed to happen that year where a lot of people seem to say, wow, after that it really seemed to get a lot, like noticeably nicer But I don't. That's not from my own personal experience. That's just things I've seen like on Strat Collectors Forum and places like that. Godin guitars, do you like? I do like. Bob Gibson says, I have an 87 RG 550. It's amazing. They are amazing. Those 87, 88, 89 RG series are killer. And you can get them so cheap. And they're Japanese made, and the quality is through the roof. You know? Do you have your eye on any new guitars? Not really. I mean, I always do. But nothing I'm like really obsessing over. I do watch the Gibson. I've decided the Gibson Les Paul model I want. I want the Gibson Les Paul traditional, but not the traditional Pro, because I like the glossy sides and back. So I don't want the Pro model with the zebra pickups. I just want the traditional with the chromed pickups, you know, the plated pickups and, you know, the stuff. It's a little bit heavier because it's not quite weight relieved. And, you know, I see them come along, but all the good ones sell pretty quickly. You got to be ready to just lay out your cash the second you see one that you like. Because all the ones I've seen that were like beautifully figured tops in a non-sunburst finish, like in other words, it was honey burst, or it wasn't cherry burst, right? The cherry burst ones that seem to be a little bit harder to sell, and the honey burst, caramels, all those seem to do a little bit better. Anything that's sort of like a non-traditional paint job, beautiful flame top, goes within 24 hours, 48 hours, they're gone. You ever play a BC Rich Bitch Koa or BC Rich? I haven't played the Koa. I've played plenty of BC Rich guitars. The problem with the BC Rich is that they were all over the place. Like, so the early ones were all made in the USA, and they were very expensive. I mean, like in 1982, you could buy a Gibson Les Paul Custom for about $650, brand new, off the shelf, $650, Gibson Les Paul Custom. And, you know, maybe $699. But if you, you know, if you bought the BC Rich that same year, it was around $1,250, right? It was like twice the cost of the Gibson Les Paul to get a Rich Bitch in that same year. It's crazy. But, you know, they were all the U.S. made stuff. But then, like anything, he got big, and then he sold the name out, and then it went all over the place, and then the quality was all over the place. I think their quality got a little bit better. They got a little bit more streamlined maybe in the 2000s. And I think Tone King has a bunch that seem really nice, you know. And, you know, they seem to be doing okay, but for the most part, they seem to be more of a lower-end guitar, you know. A buddy of mine had a BC Rich Mockingbird in the 80s. He got it in like 1986. That guitar was freaking gorgeous. Ebony fretboard. Oh, my God, was that thing nice. And never played one quite as nice as that one ever again. Have you ever regretted buying a guitar? Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. God, who hasn't, right? The one that sticks out the most, and you guys are going to freak out when I tell you this. I bought... God, I'm almost embarrassed to say this. A friend of mine at the time, and this was like 1986, I think, picked up an ESP Strat. So it was in a rosewood fingerboard, might have been an ebony fingerboard, and it was, you know, an ESP, and it was a Strat, and it was white. But the one thing it had that no one had had a Floyd Rose. You couldn't get a Floyd Rose on anything, but it had a Floyd Rose on it. It had EMGs, which was like a new technology. EMGs and a Floyd Rose. I mean, this thing was like decked out, and I tell you, I was smitten. That's a problem. Don't fall in love with a guitar. Don't ever fall in love with a guitar, okay, before you own it. So, the guy's like, yeah, you know, he goes, I was working at a music store. He says, well, you know, if you get me, he goes, get me one of those. Fender was just coming out. It was 1985. Fender Musical Instrument Corp. had just been newly incorporated. They bought the firm off of CBS. all the production was being made in Japan. That was all the Japanese contemporary series. And what happens? They come out with a line of the 57 reissue and the 62 reissue. Made in USA. It's the first stuff off the line. You can only get the vintage stuff, this first stuff, before they don't even have the American Standard out yet. I buy the 57, I want to say in candy apple red with the maple fingerboard. Came with the old tweed case. When I tell you this thing showed up, it was so freaking gorgeous. I could not stop staring at it. And I traded it. I traded it away for that ESP. And you're like, oh God, because the ESP, that 57 reissue Strat is probably worth a lot more today than that 57. But it gets worse. When I showed up to trade him for it, he was like, oh no, I said, yeah, the Strat, but this guitar, that Strat's only like $600-700. I paid like $1,000 for this. I said, well, that's not my problem. You said get a 50 Strat, we'll trade. He's like, no, I don't want to. And he backed out of the deal. And I was so crazy. And again, this is a lesson for you youngins out there. Don't fall in love with stuff before you own it. I said, well, what if I threw in my vintage 70s Twin? He says, yeah, all right. So I give him a friggin' Fender Twin plus that 57 reissue for that ESP. And I hate the friggin' ESP. I love it for about a week. And then I realized the neck is big. I like the neck on the Fender. I never played the Fender. I'm just beside myself. And I wind up selling, I think I sold it through the Juan ad for $685. And it sold almost instantly, that ESP. And I just felt like, I got $685 and I think I paid $590 for the Strat because I worked at the music store and I got it for like their price, right? So I got it way below retail. And the Twin, I basically got about $100 for it. Oh, God, I need a drink. So bad. I don't know. That's terrible. Terrible business. We totally regret it. But what can you do? And the deal's done. It's done. So, someone wrote the best guitar that got away. It's hard to say. I really regret not buying that SG at Guitar Center. It was an SG standard. Had the full binding on the neck, everything, trapezoid inlays, straight up, black, all ebony. SG standard, $399, $400. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go home, and I'm just gonna call it in, and I'll just buy it. Let me think about it. I'm driving home, I'm going, you were an idiot. You should have just bought it right then. What are you doing? And by the time I got home and I called him back, it had already sold. $399. I know. I see a lot of very disappointed people with that Fender deal. Dude, I'm with you. I am with you. I know, never tell that story again. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, God. I'm going to have nightmares tonight. Have you ever played a Gibson Marauder? I don't think so, but when I bought my Fender the Strat, the alternative guitar that day, I tried two other guitars, and that's to my dad's credit. I went in there, I said, I'm going to buy a Strat. And my dad was like, what do you? You trading in a guitar? You getting a guitar? Try a bunch of guitars. Why are you so in love with this guitar you saw on the back of a magazine? And you know what? That was actually really good advice. In the end, I still walked out with the Strat, but I tried a Gibson Victory, which I gotta say played kind of nice. But it's like it looked like a Strat, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna buy a Strat, I'm gonna buy a Strat. I'm not gonna buy a Gibson Strat. And then the other one was a Hamer Flying V, made in the USA. And I gotta say that Hamer was pretty nice too. And I was there with my dad and my friend was like, "Oh, dude, that Hamer's pretty nice." I said, "I know." And but in the end, I really wanted the Strat. So I never played a Gibson Marauder, but I've played like the Victory, tons of Les Pauls. Cheers. Cheers, John. I always thought it was pronounced Hamer, like Kramer. Night, buddy. Someone was leaving. Positive grid, bias amp, and opinion. Looks expensive. Better pull it off. You better be Kemper quality for half a Kemper price, because kind of pricey. If I can buy the software for $200, it's hard to buy the amp for $1,000, right? I could buy a laptop for $399. Can you show us the weird guitar that you own? I don't know which one. Is it the Ovation? Is it? I've got a few weird ones. When most people say the weird one, they're talking about that one. The Flame Maple. It's maple on maple on maple. Getting flamey. Not bad. For the longest time, it was my only U.S.-made guitar. All my other guitars were Japanese or Korean or Chinese. I went on a little bit of a Fender run. It happens. No, I like that one. I got that one for $40 at a yard sale. Why'd you get rid of that? That's the Ovation Viper. In fact, when I do the Viper 100, I should use that guitar. Right now, I'm playing through a Fuego X. What's your biggest bargain ever? Oh, geez. That's a good question. Probably my Kramer. That Kramer right there. See that guitar right there? That red? That guitar I bought used for $3.25. And I was like, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, is it time to switch to the Rosewood Strat? Oh, I think someone says the Panama really something else, but they're very nice, but they're really worth $700. I think so for an all tube amp, and I don't even think this is $700. I think these are $600, right? $599 for the Fuego X. Someone said Kramer story. Well, all right. Let me switch guitars. I think I hear someone coming home, but that's all right. We'll continue. What do we got? I got about 20 minutes. All right, hold on. Hope I didn't hurt the headphone users. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I just start going kooky here. Let's check the tuning. Oh, yeah. This appears to be tuned to E standard instead of E flat. There we go. This is Fiesta red? No. Ferrari red? No. This is Hot Rod red. Like I said, the only other guitar I know officially has this color is the Mark Knopfler. That's where it gets it's been so long since I've played it, you know. Something like that. I gotta look at it again. No, the Fuego doesn't have a headphone jack. It couldn't because it's all tube. And sometimes they'll run a little speaker sim, right? And then they'll run a little speaker sim in the headphone out, but that always sounds like crap. You know, you're better off to run through either a cab or out to a reload box and use a real load box to get the, to get the sound down to volumes that won't blow your eardrums out. Oh, that's good beer. Oliver writes, why don't more guitars have rosewood necks? That's a great question. I have a feeling it has, maybe it's the cost of the rosewood. I don't know. But I suspect it maybe has something to do with the treating of it or something. I don't even know. Is rosewood so hard that it just beats up the machinery? Is rosewood so expensive that they just can't afford it? I don't really know. Thinks you got to move to Canada if Trump wins. No. You got to remember that the president can only do so much, so I'm not worried about anyone who gets elected president, quite frankly. See you, Bill. Yeah, someone's writing it's expensive. I like vintage Strats. Someone says, how do you like vintage Strats? I like them, but they can be a little hit or miss. One of the biggest disappointments I ever played was I played a 57 Strat, a real 57, and the neck was like a baseball bat. I was like, whoa, that's huge. So it's sometimes the fantasy is greater than the reality. You'll find that out a lot of times in life. Oh, the Green Kramer story. It's 8:45. All right, Dylan's done. Any experience with Warmoth necks? I'm getting a flame. Yeah, Warmoth necks are really good. I like their little side thing. It's fine, you know. Yeah, the Green Kramer. So the Green Kramer was a Kramer I put on layaway at EU Wurlitzer, if you remember them from Massachusetts. We had a big, not a big, but one of the bigger stores around here was a company called EU Wurlitzer. The guy's last name really was Wurlitzer. Wurlitzer tried to shut him down, but because he used the initials EU Wurlitzer, there was nothing they could do because it was his name. So, at any rate, they were probably the biggest, in town at the time. Well, Sal came later, Daddy's came later. Really, the big one was EU Wurlitzer on Newbury Street. It eventually became a Tower Records, goes to show you how big that facility was. And I went in there to get just to look around, and they got this whole wall of Kramers in. I was like, what the hell is this? They're like, oh, they all have Floyd Roses. And it was everything I liked. It was a Strat, but it had humbuckers. It had a Floyd Rose. It was everything I wanted with my Fender The Strat, but it was already done. But they were expensive. They were, I want to say, $699 in 1983. That's kind of pricey. And I put money down, and I was broke. I wound up going back months later, and the guitar was sold, and they were just basically like, yeah, that's gone. We don't keep guitars that long. So I wound up saying, all right, well, what do you got? I'm here to pick up the guitar, put more money down. I think I was there to put more money down on it, and they wound up, they got a red one with a really wide flat neck. And I was like, wow, this is so different. But I took it anyway. Never really liked the guitar. Wound up changing the neck on the guitar and all this stuff. And then many years later, just a few years ago, this one right here, which looks exactly like the one I got back in 1984, except it's an 83. So it has the neck on that green Kramer that I played. That's the same neck. And I was like, smitten, and I got that for $3.25 off of Guitar Center, in 2013, I think. So that might have been, that's easily my best bargain, is that Kramer guitar right there. It's killer. It's got a maple body. It's got an original Floyd Rose. It's smoking. I love it. All right, let me check this. Oldest guitar you have? Oh, that's a good question. It might be... let me think. It's probably my Aria ES335 copy, which I bought used in 74. My parents bought it for me when I was 8. Since I was continuing with the guitar, I've been playing for a couple of years. I've been taking lessons for a couple of years, and they said, all right, we'll get you an electric guitar. I think that one might be the oldest. Although, no, that's probably a little newer. The Ibanez is 1980. I want to say the Ovation is a 77 or 78. So the Aria is still older than that. The Ibanez Les Paul is a 77. I think that's it. I think it's the Aria. I think that's the oldest one. Oh, no. This Cameo. See this Cameo? That was my second guitar. This Cameo acoustic. And that's probably from the late 60s, if I had to guess. I'm getting a Robert Baker text bomb. You bastard. I don't think I can play the oldest. I don't think they... this Kramer right here, this one right here, an idiot owned it that put I shouldn't call him an idiot, but I hate it when they do this. They buy an EMG and they just stick it in. And you're like, what? Pickup's a pickup, but it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So it never really worked right. He was probably a little frustrated with it. And you can mix active and passive. I don't recommend it, but it can be done. But you have to have same pots, and there's a way to do it, but he hadn't done it that way. He just used the stock pot that was in it and wired the thing in and stuck a battery on it. And he was probably having problems with it. So I pulled that out, and I put a pickup I've had kicking around for 20 years. I have a a trimbucker parallel axis, right? The blue Saraceno one. So I put it in there, but the toggle is all broken. So I gotta order another toggle, and I just haven't done it. So I think that will be my next project is to get that going. And that in the EVH clone, I'm working on that. But the EVH clone, I really want to change the pickups in it. And so that's sort of stalling me on that, because how much work do I want to do on it if I'm just pulling the pickups out? I was like, I don't want to restring it and set it all up if I'm going to rip all the strings off and put pickups in it, Baker's telling me to shut it. Are you going live in 10 minutes, Rob? If you could have one guitar that Bobby has, what would it be? His Ace Frehley. His Budokan. That's the one. That's it. If I had to own one. I mean, I like his Jack Butlers. They're awesome. They're great. But there's just something about that Ace I just really like. If I had to pick one, it would be that one. I think it'd be hard because those Jacksons are really nice. See you, Tony. We're wrapping up here in about 8 minutes. I'm gonna end it at. I'm gonna end it in about 8 to 10 minutes. Bobby plays. No, he's not just a collector. He's a player. See you, Steve. I think I'm seeing a lot of internal conversations here. Robert left me hanging. Okay. I won. Okay. He said no. Okay. Yeah, the Striker was okay. The thing that killed the Striker was their hardware was just so much lower quality than even the Focus, right? The Focus was a much nicer hardware set all across, from the tuners to the bridge to the pickups all around. It was a little nicer, not a little nicer, a lot nicer actually than the Striker. What's in the tweed case right there? That's the Fender Select. Thanks, Terry. People are saying they want to hear a jam. So bright. You roll that back a little bit. Charvel's way better, yeah. That was the two big ones at the time, Charvel and Kramer, pretty much. Couldn't give a Les Paul away back then. Even Strats were a struggle to sell. We were a Kramer dealer, we were a Gibson dealer, and we were a Fender dealer, and we were an Ibanez dealer. And I would say the Kramers were really going crazy, and then Ibanez really took off. Fender was pretty steady throughout. But really, Gibson was a tougher sell. Then Slash came along and changed all of it. But before Slash, Gibson was a tough sell. They really were. I've heard of Tragically Hip. I'm seeing a lot here. Squire, SQ, or Mim. I'd probably go with Mim. You know, Squire. The ones that the Squires that are really good are the Classic Vibes. Those are pretty good. Play looks and kill. Other modes to the diminished scale is worth playing on the guitar. That's probably a lot to get into right here. Most of the time you're going to find a diminished scale is what we would call a transitional scale, right? A scale that will work over a little bit of an oddball chord. You'll see people where there's no tonal center use a diminished scale because there's no tonal center to that either. And they're both sort of out there. You know, right now I'm just using a lav mic. This is by Audio Technica. You can get them off of Amazon for about $30, but it needs a battery. It's a condenser. All right, guys, we got 8:57. What do you say we wrap this up? We've been going for 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 47 seconds. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Matt. And RJ and RJMCDADE. See you, Oregon, Toronto, Chicago. See you from Portland, Scotland. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Oh, thanks. So I'm getting a lot of love here. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Look at all this. Rockford, Vancouver, UK, everyone all over Washington, Kentucky, LA, Florida, Maryland, all over Canada, Ireland, Argentina, Australia. Top of the morning to you. And Charlotte, North Carolina. Hope things work out down there for you. I know we're getting some weather. Cali, another Carolina, I think. Another Cali, Fresno. And Greece, I saw. California, UK, NH, Corpus Christi, Texas, Bulgaria, Orlando, Lebanon, and Long Island, Stockton, Ohio, Wisconsin. Let's see Lebanon there, another Lebanon. And Sydney, and Cleveland, and Marietta, and everywhere. Okay, Mars. Virginia Beach, all over. Anchorage. Oh, hello. We're wrapping it up. Little New York, Melbourne, Boston. Nice, Boston. Close by. Czech Republic. Oh, you're up late, thank you. Connecticut. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Getting a lot of love. I love it. It's heartfelt. All right, guys. Little New Jersey, Baghdad. Hope everything's okay. And you got Virginia Beach and Arkansas. All right, guys. 9 o'clock. That's the official time. Now, let's see if I can stop this stream. All right, guys. As always, thanks for stopping by. And rock on.